Women of Reddit, what do men do that they think is okay but is actually creepy? Where's my hug? If you have to force a hug, you don't have a hug level relationship with that person. Saying anything along the lines of "you're perfect" upon minutes of meeting. Edit, yes. That hassling you for a date because you don't have a BF is not okay. But you don't have a BF. The point is, dude, I'd rather be single than date you. Take the bloody hint. I've never understood this mentality. I've seen guys do this. As a guy, I can't imagine trying to fight past a no. I don't care what the reason is. If I ask you out and you say any variation of no, I'm just going to call off the whole thing. But you don't have a boyfriend. And? What does that have to do with you, my guy? Like single girls are just waiting for anybody to ask them out. Yikes. I have a large tattoo on my shoulder. And I've had several men come up from behind and move my tank top strap and bra strap to see it better. It's been mostly in grocery stores and Lowe's of all places. What the duck? My wife had a boss that would come up behind the ladies and start giving them shoulder massages. Not cool, dude. Edit, wow, this blew up. No, she didn't work for Joe Biden, lol. She was a resident at a hospital. The guy doing it was an attending physician. He did it to all the female residents. Not that it matters, but he was in his 50s and kind of looked like Danny DeVito's penguin. It was bad because the power dynamic between residents and attending made it hard to say much. Especially at the time. Putting their hands on your thigh or back casually while talking to you. If I'm being friendly, it's not a signal for you to touch me. Far too many co-workers. Creepy uncles. etc. Find this okay. I don't have air in my car, but it's so hot where I live, so my windows are always down. When I come to a red light, men try to talk to me from their vehicles and it makes me wildly uncomfortable because I obviously can't get away. When I am walking down the sidewalk, follow me slowly in a car while trying to talk to me. I ducking hate this. When strange men approach me and start asking personal questions like we're on a first date. Honest question. As a socially inept person, I'm often told that a good conversation strategy is to ask the person about themselves. How should I make sure I'm not doing this? Just don't do it literally out of nowhere. If you have never even seen this woman before, there are literally zero appropriate personal questions that you can ask her without her being creeped out. If these questions come up in conversation, with context, and the discussion of this topic is initiated by her, then you're good to go. Otherwise, keep it very casual and ask open-ended questions. And make sure to actually listen to her responses. When they walk behind you, they either touch your lower back or give your shoulders a squeeze. Those things are only okay for my husband to do. No one else. It isn't cute or endearing. It's extremely uncomfortable to deal with and makes women avoid you or cringe when you're near. I've come across a few men who don't seem to understand that I have a boyfriend means I'm not single and I don't want to be pursued or flirted with. My workplace is mostly men. There are 3 women and approximately 25 men. I used to bring in homemade baked goods a lot. Pumpkin bread, brownies, cookies, s'mores bars and the like. I enjoy being in the kitchen. It's a nice gesture to share. One guy started drawing me borderline inappropriate Minnie Mouse drawings. Not done well. Traced images but with small changes like her bloomers too short. Weird to explain. I'm the exact opposite of a person you'd think would like anything Disney related. Let alone sexy Minnie. He said he drew them to thank me for the treats. I stopped bringing in treats, which resulted in everyone else questioning why I quit baking. Very awkward all around. Tell you to smile. It used to make me really uncomfortable. Now I just grin manically at them. Thinking it's okay to send big dick pics by way of introduction. Maybe I'll want to see it at some point eventually. But try saying hi first. Edit, to clarify. I do not want a big dick pic eventually. Maybe I'll want to see it in real life eventually. But not if you start with a big dick pic. Gay men who grope you and say it's okay. I'm gay. And not attracted to women at all. So step the duck off my dress, Mary. And keep your ducking hands to yourself like a normal gay person then. Constantly pushing for a date after saying we aren't interested. Like a high school boy having a crush and the girl saying, I just like you as a friend, and they keep pushing like she'll fall in love. Sorry, that's just a fairy tale. Please stop after we say we don't like you. No hard feelings. We just don't want to date you. Grabbing my wrists. It is a huge ultimate duck no. DMs. Hey. 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 I'm not interested. Duck you. You stupid itch. Honking. Yelling or some form of catcalling while I'm running or even just walking down the street. I don't think any relationship in the history have ever started with some creepy guy catcalling a random woman walking down the street. Why is this still a thing? I hate it. Follow you around while you're out. Because they want to keep talking to you after you've already made 2 attempts to end the conversation. A guy who sat next to me on a plane and wouldn't stop talking to me, even after I put on headphones, tried to walk me to my connecting flight even after I refused to give him my phone number. He finally left when I went to the women's restroom. You're cute when you're angry. You're thoroughly unattractive when you're condescending. It's not most men at all, but there was one man who acted super creepy and seemed to think it was fine. I worked with this guy back when I was 18. The 2 of us as well as some other co-workers would hang out all the time and I was generally friendly with the guy. Same sort of friendly as I'd use with anyone else, but I guess it made him obsessed with me. For about 5 years he would constantly message me telling me how amazing I am. He clearly seemed to think that was a good idea and it would make me feel good and I guess make me into him? Or maybe he already thought I was into him? Point is, if someone turns you down they probably aren't playing hard to get. Try once. If they turn you down and you suspect they are playing the stupid hard to get game, then ask them directly. Don't pester them constantly for years. That is scary behavior. And yes, I did block the guy eventually. Then he started making alternative accounts to add me with. That's where we are getting into stalker territory though. TLDR, when someone says no, you should back off. Not turn into a stalker. Guys who try to assert their dominance by crushing your hand while shaking it. I have arthritis and it is excruciatingly painful. I've got curly hair and I'm sick of men thinking they can just come and grab a coil of hair and pull it. Like I'm some kind of slinky spring. Don't touch my ducking hair and don't call me moody when I tell you to stop. Eater. Seems like it's people with curly hair, colored hair, long hair, no hair and facial hair all suffering together here. Also, I've not had many women reach for my hair, but obviously they do. Please don't touch our hair without permission. It's such an intimate thing to do for a lot of us. I know you said you're a les, but I think you're cute and wanted to know if you'll give me a chance. Admittedly, that has thankfully only happened to me online, and that is a politely worded version. But I have plenty of friends who have gotten it in real life too. Dare me to kiss my girlfriend in front of him to prove I'm lesbi. Disgusting and daily. I am an elderly woman and it really pisses me off when men that I don't know call me sweetie or honey or sweetheart. Dudes. Just don't. I am not your grandma with a dish of cookies for you. Catcalling. Like. WTF. In what world is someone gonna turn around and be appreciative instead of creep the duck out? I ducking hate when a guy walks behind me if they're trying to get by how they put their hand on my lower back. I don't know you. Please don't touch me. It's pretty simple. It happens all the time. Maybe it's just me, but asking if I live alone. Now if at this point of inquiry there was an already established friendship, I suppose it's okay. But if you are a stranger or an acquaintance, that would freak me out. Real question. Do the items listed happen to women all the time? My mind is blown at how obviously not okay these examples are. What I get from all of this is 1. Actually tell someone if you're trying to pass them, but keep your bloody hands to yourself. 2. Acknowledge their existence if caught at an intersection, but don't flirt or be rude. 3. Talk about things of interest or importance. 4. If she's not interested, accept it as fact and drop it. This is not to say disregard the relationship, friendship. Just don't pressure for more. 5. Big dick pics are rarely okay, and even when requested should be met with healthy skepticism. 6. Do not assume physical contact within a relationship. 7. If you are making them uncomfortable, apologize. Am I missing anything of importance? Please note these are things I've tried to do myself, though I still struggle with self-confidence, esteem, and always feel as though I'm being ticklingy or creepy even when I'm actively trying not to be. 1. Flirting with me in a position where I can't leave, like an Uber or a taxi. It's terrifying. One time I had an Uber driver flirt with me the entire time I was in the car late on a Friday night after a party. I tried to stop responding and he kept telling me how beautiful I was and how I needed a nice man, etc. He actually ended up skipping my street and I thought I was going to die that night. Most of the times when women don't want to talk with you, aren't interested, and you keep pushing it, we get scared that we're gonna get assaulted or killed. A real possibility at any time. 2. I've had men who have been on FaceTime in public follow me with their phones talking to their friends about how I look and such, and it's just really uncomfortable because I didn't consent for my body to be recorded and sent to your pals when I'm just trying to get my ducking groceries. When you get messages like "Hi hun, I draw for a living," and regularly get guys messaging me under the guise that they want to commission something, when it's really just an excuse to get closer to me. This will sound blunt and itchy, but I don't want you. I want your money. You commissioning or not? Alright, stop wasting my time. Thank you. Talking badly about their ex and their kids. I'm a single middle-aged woman. I don't know what's going on with some men, but a lot of them regret having kids and are mad about having to give money to their ex to raise them. I'm not talking about unreasonable amount of money, but for example $100 for 2 kids at the beginning of a school year. And of course their ex is crazy for asking for it. She's the one who wanted kids. Some have complained about having to spend time with them. Why are they telling me this? We just met. It makes them seem so mean and cheap. If you don't want kids, get a vasectomy. Well, I'm apparently either really unattractive or really unapproachable, maybe both, but after reading this thread I don't feel quite as bad about it. Getting sexually explicit in the first message. When men I don't know well at all do random favors for me without me asking. I know it can come from an innocent place, but I've had enough build-ups to creepy behavior that started with small things that I'm immediately suspicious. Example. Not terribly dark. A previous neighbor of mine who was around 45. I was 25. We lived in a house split into apartments, so we shared a yard. He would water my flowers, spread mulch onto my flower beds, clean my gutters, etc. without asking beforehand if I wanted or needed him to help. But he'd always tell me afterward he'd done it. I was already kind of wary about what he expected from me, so I thanked him with a 6-pack, which seemed to disappoint him. He also said numerous times that he worries about me living alone and he'd protect me if I ever had an intruder or anything. Which, okay, thanks. I decided he was just a generous person. He introduced me to the other neighbors, and once in a while we'd all go out for a drink at the pub down the road, and he'd pay for everyone's drinks, regardless of whose idea it was to go out. So I thought, okay, this is just how he is. And I thought that until I looked up from my couch around 11 PM and he was standing in my flower bed staring through my window with his hands cupped around his eyes. He grinned and tapped on the glass like, "Hey Mir, let's talk." So I went outside. I was waiting on a friend to come pick me up, to find him wearing what I think was a suit, swaying, very drunk. And he says, "Let's go out." "Where do you want to go?" I was like, "Hey, sorry, I've got plans with a friend tonight, So he interrogates me about what kind of friend. It was a guy. Then out comes the list of all the things he's done for me. How he'd never let anyone hurt me. How even though he's old enough to be my father, then he kind of trailed off. I asked, do you mean go out on a date? Mumbles, yeah, kind of. I said I didn't think of him that way. And that he was right. I kind of did put him in the category of people my father's age. Then he got mad saying things like woo, so that's how you're gonna be, how? And I was just so surprised and had no idea what to do, so I just started apologizing. My friend arrived with flawless timing.